was buried over the weekend. May soul rest in peace. He was a great person of the arts and comedy, and he was buried, sent home over the weekend. Timber truck accident is trending. You saw that video of the timber truck overturning with the logs crushing some vehicles, and got some casualties there. Safety issues always really a problem. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, new movie. Watched it yesterday. Bits of it anyway. It was good. And there's more, of course. Hard to focus in the news. Kotoko is in the news. Black Stars are getting ready to be in the news on Thursday. And we'll hear more about that at 7:45. I'm here with my guests who join us every Monday. Bernard Oduro is a certified chartered economist. And Dr. Kwaku Anane is a corporate governance expert and a lecturer at the Gimpa Law Faculty. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Calvin.
All good?
Good.
All right. What's on your mind this morning? I'll start with you, Bernard.
Yes, Kat, good morning to your viewers once again. Two issues. One is the minimum wage announcement by the government of Ghana. Mm-hmm. And the second one is the culture of voluntary resignation by public officials. I'll start with the latter. Mm-hmm. I find it difficult to understand why in Africa, and for that matter in Ghana, people are very recalcitrant to resign when the odds are against them. Mm-hmm. I say so because public office holding is not private property. And when the people who repose confidence in you feel that service is no more needed, it makes a lot of sense to table in the resignation when the time is due. Mm-hmm. If you take Europe, an advanced country, one thing that I have bettered the economists is where people willingly give in when the odds are against, and mostly when the applause are high. I say so because of what is going on in Parliament, the vote of censure, and also the position and the posture of the finance minister. Mm. In as much as he might have good intention to serve Ghana, it shows from within his party, outside his party, civil society, and public opinion have come to confirm that many people want him to go. I would want to see a certain day in Ghana whereby public officials, if the odds are against them, or when they see they've performed below the belt, they just put in the resignation letter and go. That is so because when our leaders elevate tangent, it builds trust in public office. Because I want to see a certain leader who said that because of public opinion from my party, outside my party, are calling for my head, it is time to bow out when the applause is high. I've taken the pain to follow the proceedings in Parliament, and it looks as if without him, Ghana cannot have a finance minister. And that, in my candid view, is never acceptable. If I were him, and he would listen to me this morning, you must leave when the applause is high. And today, assuming if he had left office before this whole kind of committee probing thing, probably many things wouldn't have come out at this time. But it would be very embarrassing on his part if the committee succeed in calling for his head on the table. When that happens, the integrity he wanted to have protected will be battered long ago. The second one is minimum wage increment and announcement by the government of Ghana. Mm-hmm. And Carl, there is something in about, and I would love to compare countries, just about some 5 countries in terms of a minimum wage. Ghana's minimum wage as of today stands at 14.80 Ghana cedis, which translates to $1.06. Germany, minimum wage is $10.59. UK is $11.43. France stands at $10.71. Almighty Togo stands at $2.76. Cote d'Ivoire stands at $2.88. Nigeria stands at $3.39. Now, I raise this issue because of the recent publication by Ghana Statistical Service that has given credence to the ballooning inflation in the country. Because if you increase the minimum wage of the country to 14.88 and the stands at 25 Ghana cedis or 30 Ghana cedis, what it means is that you need to work twice, or you need 2 days minimum wage to be able to pay for this loaf of bread. Now, in as much as it is minimum, it doesn't encourage a lot of employers to pay way beyond it. Because, CAF, as of today, food inflation stands above 40%. Non-food inflation around 39.1%. Overall inflation in Ghana as of today stands at 40-point-something%. So if your take home in the wisdom of the government machinery says that your minimum wage should not be less than 14.88, inflation alone will eat away your net earnings. In as much as government has done what he ought to do, if you take a lot of survey around, this base minimum wage is not acceptable to many employees. Because I get to meet a lot of people who share their frustration, especially on transportation and even on food expenditure. So I would love to call on the government that if Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, and Togo are having their minimum wage pegged beyond $2.7, and that to Ghana is around $1.06, it raises more questions, especially on cost of living of the people. I am not saying that you must go the way Nigeria, Togo, and Cote d'Ivoire have gone, but clearly evidence points to the fact that the cost of living in Ghana today is higher than most African countries. So pegging our minimum wage around 14.88 in my candid view, though timely, but very unacceptable.
So two issues there, minimum wage issues and the culture of
voluntary resignation
in Ghana. Okay, right. So that's what's on Bernard's mind. What's on your mind? We'd love to know. But let's first of all find out from Dr. Gyinde. What's on your mind, sir?
I don't want to be doing equalization. I also have two issues. I also have two issues. No. In terms of the numbers, that he's raised, he's done two. I also do two. Okay. So it's normal. Okay. First, let me say a very good morning to my people at Kintampo.
One time.
And also to thank the Mo Traditional Council for giving me the chance and the privilege to go and serve them on the governing board of the College of Health and Well-Being.
Congratulations.
The board was sworn in just this weekend, and I'm glad to represent my people.
Fantastic.
This is the second time the Traditional Council has given me the privilege and then the opportunity to also serve my people. So I'm grateful to them, and I want to congratulate all members of the board. But Kafi, one important thing that I want to bring out. You see, without this middle-level health personnel, the Agenda 111 cannot succeed. Nurses alone, doctors alone are not enough to ensure the effective and efficient running of any health system. So we need the middle-level personnel, like the physician assistant, record communicators, what the College of Health and Well-Being is doing in Kintampo. They are training the middle-level personnel for all the health sectors of this country. So I would want to plead with government. It has a population of 6,000, but they have hostel facilities for only 600 people. We started a hostel project in 2008. That project is still uncompleted under the GET Fund. I hear the GET Fund administrator is touting his successes, what is done, but as far as I'm concerned, the project in Kintampo College of Health has seen no show. So from here, I think the board are planning to meeting so that it has been completion, wiring, plastering, and that will be
What's taking them so long?
I don't know, since 2008.
Why?
I don't know, 14, I can't explain. We tried to find out, but we are not getting any answers. So the new board, of which I'm part, would just want to engage the GET Fund administrator to see how we can facilitate the speedy completion of this project.
So the building is there?
It's there. It's nearly complete. It has been roofed. The structure is there. It has been roofed, like with plastering, a few wiring here and there, and it will be done.
And currently it's not being used?
No, it's not completed. And it's been there since 2008.
That's 14 years.
14 years. So from here, I think we're going to engage the...
Are people squatting in the building?
No, people are not squatting because the place has been fenced.
Okay.
It is on the school, on the campus, so people are not squatting.
But buildings left alone tend to deteriorate.
Yeah, definitely. So this one thing we want to look at. And Kafi, one important thing, I don't know whether we'll come to that. The sitting in Parliament.
Yes.
I just sat and I was looking.
The vote of censure?
The vote of censure, it was a very necessary exercise. Because, see, most of your colleagues in the other media houses, oh, this one is not necessary. It's going to be a waste of time and resources. But what we saw there has first and foremost informed that, educated that, and then made certain things clearer to the Ghanaian public. You see, and I must congratulate the speaker for setting up that committee. Actually, he had no choice. Because if you look at Article 19.1, it talks of principles of fair trial. And then also principle of natural justice. You have to give the other party the right to be heard. And then also this doctrine that we always tell our students, audi altere partem, that is listening to the other side. So when the speaker set this process in motion, he was simply complying with all these legal requirements. So I think it has actually informed us, educated some of us. Then at the end of the day, Ghanaians will be the better judges. And to me, my first problem was with the composition of the committee. Normally, state committees are supposed to be in odd numbers, so that when it comes to voting, you cannot have a split.
So it's 5, 7, 9, 11.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And then secondly, there was no gender balance. 8 people, you just have only 1 female.
Dr. Zanato
alone. So the MPP, you want to tell me they couldn't find a woman to represent them on that committee? That is the problem I had with the composition of the committee. But I think the committee, they did a very good job. Although at some times they became a little bit disorderly and disorganized.
Because they have 2 heads.
They have 2 heads. And you see, as 2 co-chairs, I think there should be a level of cooperation and compromise. So that you expose your differences in the glare of the public. I don't think it is. It was too good.
Talking to people, they said that they felt that Honorable Hammond kept interjecting too much.
Well, I think I also got that feeling. And you could clearly see the political divide, where the NDC was doing more of the interrogation, and then the MPP side was doing more of lead questioning.
And defense.
Not even defense, they were asking lead questions.
Okay.
You ask a lead question expecting a certain answer.
The lawyer tricks. A leading question, eh?
They were leading questions.
So give me an example of a leading question. Ask me a leading question that you want to.
So Kwaku, don't you think that at this point in time, your program is supposed or is expected to be the best program in Ghana?
Of course.
This what you expect.
Of course. So that's a leading question.
That's a leading question.
Give me another one.
I ask you a question. To give me an answer I expect.
Let me also try one. So, Dr. Gyinde, at this moment in time, don't you think that in the eyes of your wife, you are a handsome man?
Definitely. So this is what the MPP side was doing. Okay. And I know most of them, I think at the MPP side, they are all lawyers. Anyway, and it showed. Okay. So they were asking more leading questions to enable the finance minister to make his point.
Soft landing.
And also what they did was what we call friendly fire.
Oh, friendly fire, eh? Oh, okay. Friendly fire.
So it was very interesting. And I think it was a very useful exercise.
Did it help Ghana?
No, it helped. It helped to strengthen our democracy because most people thought that, well, the minority has decided to censure him. That should have been the end. But no, you don't do that. Now, this exercise has opened another page that in case you accuse anybody of anything, the law requires that you allow that person to also respond. So it has really deepened our democracy and then entrenched our jurisprudence to some sense.
Awesome.
So I think it was a good exercise, but so far I think the finance minister, he put up a very good defense, and he was able to rebuke most of the allegations and debunk some of the argument made. So me, if I want to make a fair assessment, my own assessment is that the promoters of the censure, they've not convinced me. But that does not mean that I don't want Oforata to go. In fact, he has become a detraction to government because all the conversation, all the discourse now is about. So if you do that, you detract government business and then of government, the attention, the time that we need to focus on resolving most of the critical issues facing our country today. Everything is about Oforiatta. What is government business? What are we doing to slow down the inflation? What are we doing to improve the lives of our people?
If you were his lawyer, what would you be advising?
I would just advise him. I would advise him he should just go when he has done a lot. 6 years being finance minister, you've achieved everything that you want to achieve in life as a person. So why don't you go with your reputation and image intact? But I'm not asking to go on the basis of the reasons given by the proponents of the censure.
Why do you want him to go then? What should be his basis?
The basis, I've just told you, he's become a distraction.
Okay, so the distraction issue.
The distraction issue should then let him go.
Okay.
But to me, the proponents of the censure motion have not convinced me. Not at all. Because if you raise issues like recklessness, you see, these are very technical issues. These are very technical issues in law. If you raise issues of recklessness, then it pendulates between intention and negligence. And recklessness can be both subjective and then objective. So you have a big problem there, proving recklessness. So I thought maybe they could have made it simpler. But they decided to go the way they want. But what I found a little bit uncomfortable with the deliberate misrepresentation by the proponents, referring to the National Cathedral as the President's Cathedral. No, this is a house of records. Future generation will take up these documents and say, oh, the President was building a cathedral for himself. This is total misrepresentation. Didn't they know that the cathedral is a limited liability company? Guaranteed by guarantee, limited by guarantee.
Who set it up?
Government set it up. It doesn't make it the property of the president. So that is why I think if you do that, we lower the parliamentary, we lower the bar.
How did the government set it up though? Was it autonomous, spontaneous combustion? Did the thing just appear like that?
No. You have to go, if you want to register a company, you go through some processes.
But it was based on the president's wish.
Well, but it doesn't make it his property. It's not the president's you see, they all know it. So why did they decide to go and embarrass themselves? So if you do that, others will also tell that you are also engaged in deliberate misrepresentation because you know that it is a national cathedral, not the president's cathedral.
So
that is my.
You wish they had couched their grounds more technically.
No, they should have just
said the National Cathedral.
National Cathedral instead of the President Cathedral. Because don't they know that it is the cathedral is a national cathedral, not the President Cathedral. But if you do that, I will tell you that you are on a mischief, and it doesn't help your cause. Then people begin to raise issues about what your real intentions are. To get Oforiatta censure just for political reasons. So I think they did well by putting up that censure motion, and I think it has opened up our eyes. But sometimes some of the words and then their language and then their approach, some of us felt that maybe it could have been done otherwise.
Okay, so those are the thoughts of Dr. Anane Gyinde, issues on the censure, the vote of censure that took place, the hearing that the finance minister went through on Friday, and then you also spoke about this Get Fund infrastructure, which is yet to be completed. Give us the name of the facility again so that we can follow it up for you.
It's not yet to be completed.
Okay, but it's located where?
No, it has been abandoned.
Okay.
Not as if
abandoned infrastructure. Where exactly? What's the name of the community?
It is Kintambo College of Health and Well-being.
Okay.
It's the first of its kind in Ghana.
Okay. College of Health and Well-being.
Well-being at Kintambo.
Okay. It's definitely not healthy, and its well-being is...
It is an abandoned project.
Okay. All right. So get fun. Deal with that. Okay. Let me just run through the headlines, and then I'll get some comments from both of you. Today's daily graphic leads with use of Ghana card for voting, NIA EC system integration on course, says Professor Atefa, who's the boss at the National Identification Authority, Executive Secretary there. I've been honest in fiscal reporting, says Ken Friata, defending his stewardship. Quintessential statesman politician Professor Kwesi Botre passes, and tributes are pouring in for him. The finder leads with Oforiatta acquitted himself creditably, showing that he did not mismanage the economy. It will be a tragedy not to use Ghana card to vote in 2024, says Professor Atefa. Black stars and players and technical teams sign a code of conduct to avoid Brazil debacle. Okay. Ghanaian Times. Atanglonga Anyanui as sandbar blocks channel communities, livelihoods in danger, town buried in sand, another disappears. Wow, that's serious stuff going on right there. Support Finance Minister on Budget Statement, says Dr. Asibe Yeboah, for some of the headlines in today's Ghanaian Times. And then the Daily Dispatch also has a couple of headlines that I thought would be very interesting to you. It's looking at, MPP flag bearer elections likely to be held in August of 2023. And you have pictures there of Dr. Baumia, Mr. Kennedy Ajapong, Mr. Alan Chemating, Mr. Joe Gate, Dr. Afriye Akoto. These look like the front runners for all that. And Kandapa on terrorism and violent extremism threats is one of the headlines. And then of Reata's responses to the censure motion, you can find them in today's Daily Dispatch. NPP's Obrige said Alan K can never beat Baumia in Ashanti region. So a couple of hot political headlines there in today's Daily Dispatch. I'm sure it will send tongues wagging all over the place. All right, you're watching GTV Breakfast. Remember, there's a conversation on this censure motion. Is the apology by the finance minister enough? Because he did start his comments by saying he's truly sorry. Our panelists are Justice Abdullahi, who is a lawyer, Palgrave Boachi Dankwa, who is government spokesperson on governance and security, and Professor Bafo Ajimandria, former UN senior governance advisor. That's a conversation that will happen in the next hour. Of course, at 7:45, we'll slip over to Sports Plus TV2 for a conversation on the World Cup. Cristiano Ronaldo becomes the first person to hit 500 million followers on Instagram. That means 1 in 16 people all around the world. Oh, well, there's a lot of people. It's more than that. Yeah, 500 million is half a billion. And world population now is now 8 billion. So 1 in 16 people follow Ronaldo. You count 16 people, one of them follows Ronaldo. That's really crazy stuff, man. Crazy. So that's on the sports side of things. Your comments coming soon on 0555561034. Today we wrap up at 7:45 on this for the sports. But gentlemen, Bernard, you wanted to make some comments?
On the National Cathedral.
Yes.
Carl, if you see the controversy on the cathedral is not that people don't want it. It's about how it has been conducted and the kind of opacity in its whole administration. Carl, to be very honest with you, it would be very illogical on my part as a Christian to kick against National Cathedral. But come to think about it, you want to put up a cathedral for evolving and developmental purpose. And even the location of the National Cathedral itself brought a huge cost onto the nation. Look, you put down 9 residences of a peace corps judges. And not only that, Ghana Maritime Authority facility went down, Judicial Service Institute Database Center went down, another private facility. Imagine siting this facility on the stretch of Cape Coast Takoradi Road, on the Kumasi Road, on the Volta Road. You even bring development to the people. So the whole issue about why there's so much controversy, so much noise is that the government failed to listen. I have always advanced the argument that you cannot be the monopolist of intelligence in governance. At any material moment, you get it wrong. And when the citizenry that you want to serve are raising teething issues, common sense should tell you that, look, pace down and listen to them. So for me, National Cathedral is a novelty of a project anybody will ever kick against. But check it historically and globally. No National Cathedral has been put up in less than 10 years. In some jurisdictions, it is 30 years, 50 years, etc. I am not saying that because it took 15 years to do, it should take the same years for Ghana to do. But when you don't have the immediate resources, lay the foundation and tell the whole country that as a nation, as a Christian-dominated country, we need an National Cathedral. But me as a president, I'm setting the foundation so that all successive government or president will take over. But a situation whereby it becomes so intransigent, so difficult, and at all costs, whether we have money or not, you do it, that is where the concerns are raised. As to whether money appropriated for the project went through due process or not, it's not a bone of contention for me. But my concern is that the way we've gone about it is totally wrong. And today, if you sit down with the president, deep in his heart, he would avoid that he would have started the project in different location than that place. Because for me, the cost alone doesn't make sense to me. But hey, whom am I? I'm just a simple social commentator who only make a point and nobody takes it.
You are BOT.
Very
Ghana now.
But Cap, if Ghana were to be like any other country, the president would never have pulled down those residences. So that is my concern. Other than that, it's a great project, and that every Ghanaian, whether Muslim, and if you saw even the chief imam donating to the project, that should tell you the kind of researching people have for the project. But Mr. President, for the starting of the project at that, perpetual place is wrong. You are forcing yourself to create a space for the project. Meanwhile, Volta Road is there, Oti Road is there, Cape Coast Road is there, Kumasi Highway is there. If we have taken this project to those places, look, in the near future, parking lot will even be a problem for the project. That is my concern. Other than that, it's a great project.
Then they could have cited it at Kintampo.
The center of Ghana.
The center of Ghana.
Number one ambassador of Kintampo.
Where we all meet, Upper West, Upper East, Northern region, we all meet
I
at
agree.
Kintampo.
You have my vote on this.
We'll take your comments pretty soon on 055-556-1034. Well, what are your thoughts? I'm looking at that accident. It really shocked me, One person confirmed dead in fatal crash at Bogoso. So there was one person who died, 4 others injured in a crash involving a DAF truck and 5 other vehicles at Bogoso in the Prisia-Huni Valley municipality of the Western region. So the chains on the DAF timber truck snapped, and all the timber logs fell on vehicles at the center of Bogoso on a market day. Around, if you know the area, Master Baba Fitting Shop and Cheaper Lines Cold Store. So fire service, ambulance, police rushed to the scene to salvage the situation. The dead person was a taxi driver, name not given, and injured people were sent to nearby hospitals for medical attention. Later, they removed the mangled vehicles and DAF truck from the scene for traffic to flow. So you see these things. I used to work in a shipping company for years, over a decade, and you're driving from Takoradi to Accra, or going towards Sunyani. I used to go all the way as far as Sampa, chasing exporters. You see some of these trucks, and my policy is that I don't drive behind a truck. And if you're overtaking, you better make sure that you are overtaking really quickly, because these logs, 4 or 5 logs can just snap. I mean, look at a chain and a tree. There's no competition, And so unfortunate, if you saw the pictures of those vehicles that were mangled, can you imagine being in a vehicle and a truck and a log just falling on it? It's just instant, I don't know. We take security and safety very lightly in the country. They pass through all these customs checks, they pass through all these police checks. Go.
Bakab, do you know that these timber merchant companies, transit insurance policy, they also have what you call the liability insurance cover. I want to avert the minds of the deceased family. 2 things. In terms of the goods in transit policy, what is the carriage limit? I want to bring it to the attention of the insurance company who is holding the policy of that truck.
So those logs would be goods in transit?
Yeah, goods in transit, because in the insurance policy, you have what you call the property insurance and the human and non-human insurance cover. What you see over there is simply goods moving from one point to the other. At any very material moment, an insurance company might have a cover for some of these things. So number one, it just goes to the deceased family, and maybe they can have a lawyer to probe this. What is the limit of the carriage by the company? Because you must have a track and indicate at any material moment the limits of carriage. Number 2, what is the liability insurance cover of this company? Because anytime there is an accident, when it comes to motor has 3 policy cover. You have the comprehensive, who talks about your vehicle and any other damage to other people, and you have the third-party cover. And in the third-party cover, there's something you call TPPD, third-party property damage limit. So if your goods in transit extend to damage third-party property, what limit cover them? So the family of the deceased, these are teaching questions they should begin to pose to the company. They have to know.
And the injured people as well.
And the injured people, they have to know.
Yeah.
What is the third-party property damage limit of this truck? And is it that it could even be that this truck may not have insurance cover?
And that's the first thing I wanted to ask.
And
Do
that
they
is even
have
more
insurance
serious.
in the first place?
Yes.
That's even more serious.
If you go to UK, there's something you call a motor insurance. MID. Now, what it does is that some vehicles are uninsured, and I would not be surprised. That is what most of these timber firms do. They have more like an over-covering policy. So they do a big policy. They don't even give the numbers of the vehicle. And they just say that at any material moment, I have 50 cars. In the 50 cars, they might not even give the specific vehicle registration number. So this car might, I'm choosing my word advisedly, this car might even be uninsured. In such situation, what compensation will be available to the deceased and the family? So these are technical questions on matters of insurance that I want to give it out to the deceased family and those who are also affected.
The driver of the DAF truck is on the run.
On the run?
Yes.
Okay.
Efforts are underway to get the driver of the truck.
Good.
He's on the run.
So you see, it is giving credence to my leading question, like the way Don said. It might even be that this vehicle you see there might be uninsured. So it becomes a hit and run car. So the hit and run is in two folds. Either the vehicle both away or the driver both away. In either case, there's hit and run.
People must be taking some of these things to court.
Definitely, they have to engage a lawyer. If he runs away, the owner of the truck can be invited by the police. You are the owner of the truck. Even if the driver runs away, they can still hold the owner responsible because he is the owner of this truck that has caused so much damage. So that if anything at all, the driver will only be charged for reckless driving or whatever. But when it comes to the insurance, it is the owner of the truck who is supposed to have an insurance policy in the first place.
Yeah.
So we have to be able to establish that, does this car have an insurance policy? And if it has, what policy does it cover? What are the limitations? These are technical things that the deceased family should quickly get a lawyer, preferably an insurance lawyer, to deal with it.
Okay.
Yeah, to deal with it. It's quite important. You see, this also brings home to the question of what we are doing on our roads. You see, we have all these various bodies.
Yeah.
Forestry Commission, the police, customs, they are all there. You want to tell me that none of them saw this coming? And what step did they take? Or they are just there to do the usual thing. Let them pass and then you are no confused. Is that, I'm not accusing them on it, I'm just asking questions. So please, you see, we have a country to build. This is what I keep saying. And every one of us has a role to play. Whether you are a police, a lecturer, a journalist, a cleaner, whatever. We all have our various roles to play to ensure that we develop this country.
What are your thoughts on this? As a driver, when you see these trucks on the motorway, on the feeder routes, what goes through your mind? Look at that. This is just crazy, you know. The pictures are, and this is a market day. This is a market day in Bogoso. And these logs just block the road. Poor taxi driver with this tree on him. Look at this red car, private car. You know? Wow. And these are huge trees, you know? Yeah, back in the day, I knew all these species, so Cyber, Oduro, all those things like that.
Have a quick one.
Yeah.
In most insurance companies, the third-party property damage limit is not exceeding around 5,000. So if your vehicle, your commodity, your items, damage corolla of this nature worth about 40,000, matters of legal tussle will come in. Because your insurance company
is also only up to 5,000.
Up to 5,000. And if they pay up to that 5,000, the net of the difference is what the company must cough out to pay. So if you don't proceed to court in matters of this nature and you think the insurance company will settle you, then I'm sorry.
Wow. People need to know, man. This is good. Free insurance and legal education advice right here on GTV Breakfast. A worrying story in today's Ghanaian Times about children not attending school. So according to the Population and Housing Census, a total of 1.2 million children between the ages of 4 and 17 do not attend school. 1.2 million. Out of that number, almost 1 million have never attended school. This was contained in a release issued recently by the Ghana Statistical Service and copied to the Ghanaian Times. Savannah region leads with 43.2% of children who have never attended school. 43.2%. There are almost 6,000 children in Ghana living without shelter, sleeping outdoors. 2 in 5 of the children without shelter are in Greater Accra region. Highest share followed by Ashanti region, 15%, Eastern 5%. This is just statistics are shameful, really. I mean, 1.2 million children not going to school. What kind of future are we building for these kids?
That is a clear indictment on all of us as a state, and also a scar on our conscience. Because, you see, there could be several factors. But the bottom line, what are we doing as a state, at the individual level, at the community level, to make sure that our children get to school? I don't think we are doing much. Maybe there could be economic reasons, social reasons, distance, but that is not excuse. That is not an excuse why we should not send our children to school. And what we are doing is that we are creating a mass of unemployable, illiterate, dangerous youth, because he has no job, he has no training. At the end of the day, what is he going to do? He must survive. So this also has security implications for us as a country. So these statistics should let us sit up and do something about it, because it's quite alarming. Moreover, when it is coming from some of the most deprived areas where we think education should be encouraged so that we can break the social gap. Savannah region, that's where my mother comes from. So I'm very worried about it.
Yeah.
So leadership in that region must sit up. Gyinde-Corporate and then all the other people who have been given the privilege to serve. Don't forget your people. This usually what happens, especially in the northern communities. I'm sorry. My mother is from the north. When we get the position, we forget our brothers behind us. Because the thing is that you want to be the only boss, the overlord, so that when you come, people begin to bow you. Begin to bow and then sing your praises. That is not enough. If you are alone, you are the only one who is made it. The others who have not made it will be a burden on you. Pressure. So why don't you empower the other people to also stand on their feet? Sad story.
1.2 million children not going to school. Bernard.
You see, Kav, I think we've gotten to a level we need to democratize opportunity and future wealth creation. And the only torchlight of the world today is education. It's the only torchlight. How on earth could I have been on this platform but for education? How on earth? And look, there are other mates of mine back then who are more intelligent than me.
Opportunity.
They couldn't look. You see, life is like this bottle. Calf. The more you go up, the slimmer it becomes at the top. Yeah. That is in Africa. In Europe, the bottle moves like the way it is to the top. So who want to become a lawyer is, a journalist is. But in our jurisdiction, there is a real case of our life situation in Ghana. When you are at the basic level, you are all is broad. Everybody, kindergarten, hey. But when you are going to JHS, drop comes in, secondary school, university, it's professor, he just sits at the top. There is a real life situation in Ghana. But you see, Kav, the more you have uneducated population, the dangerous it becomes for crime. And it's biblical. The devil will find way for the idle hand. So when you see these tourists, you ask yourself, what has been the impact of FQ? Free compulsory universal basic education.
Yeah, I thought primary school was free.
Yeah, no, but I'm asking. There is a policy that was meant to make sure that we don't have this kind of situation in the country. So if a country can have FQ, and in the face of this FQ,
and people are not going to school.
People are not going to school. Yes. They mean that the policy, if well evaluated, has failed.
It's a problem.
And the government officials are beginning to review the value of FQ.
The policy. Bernard Oduro Chechi is our certified chartered economist, and Dr. Kwaku Anane Gyinde is a corporate governance expert and a lecturer at the Gimpa faculty. Thanks for your comments. We are switching over for our World Cup updates. Studio 2 is ready for us, and we'll be looking at everything that happened yesterday, what's going to be happening today, Ghana's chances, Black Stars training, all of that. All the juice is right here on GTV Breakfast. You stick around.